I started this theater company about 15 years ago when I was younger. Young. Well, at this age, I'm elderly now. I was younger back then. I wrote this Lone Ranger show for a theater that I did in Paradise, California. We had a 60-piece orchestra behind us, which was really kind of nice because we played all the music that you're going to hear tonight live. And then I did another show for a theater company here in Sacramento, and we did that one as well. And then I did it again for Paradise. So it's been a while since I've done this show. When I moved to Lakeview Village, I thought, it would be kind of fun to get all the people together and see if, maybe they want to play the parts of the Lone Ranger. So I talked to Peggy Hillis, and Peggy said, oh, I think that's a great idea. But Peggy says, Jack, there are more women than there are men here. So I had to rewrite some of the show to put more women in it. And as I was rewriting it, I found that the only people that I could change were the villains. Most of the villains in tonight's show are women. We had a few sound effects that we did live at the earlier presentations, but Hal Cohen has just really taken it over, and all of the sound effects you're going to hear for tonight, he derived, he researched and did all kinds of work on it. And so when you get a chance, watch the sound effects, and at the intermission, maybe see all the gadgets that he's got here. He's really done a great job. I also want to thank Tom Hanks here. Tom volunteered to help me with the music for tonight, so thank you, Tom. I appreciate it. We have a cast of about 13 members, and unfortunately, the biggest problem I had was remembering their names. I'm elderly, So I have a friend of mine who took a course on how to remember names, and I said, well, how's that work? He said, well, you kind of remember somebody by what they look like. Like, for instance, George Wolfe. He said, I think he looks like a wolf, so I remember his name that way. You could pick an object and do the same thing. I said, well, that sounds great. How do I get a hold of the guy so he can teach me this? He says, what's the name of that flower you give your wife on your anniversary? I said, you mean a rose? He says, yeah. Rose, honey, what's the name of that course I took? We called this presentation the Theater of Your Mind because back in the 40s and 50s, you had to use your imagination to kind of figure out what things look like. So different people saw different scenes, different characters. It was really a theater of your mind. So to get this across, I'm supposed to tell you that having a cell phone go off in the middle of the performance is going to really ruin the theater of the mind presentation for everyone. So if you have a cell phone and you would shut it off right now, I'd really appreciate it. We had a lot of women try out for the parts. In fact, we were originally going to have a woman play the part of Tonto. But unfortunately, she was unable to make most of the rehearsals, and so we had to replace her. And so I asked some of the cast who'd like to play Tonto. We've got a guy who has a goatee down to here. And he said, I have to play Tonto. I said, okay, you can play Tonto. I said, would you be willing to shave your goatee off? And he said, well, this is the theater of your mind, isn't it? I said, yeah. He said, well, have the audience just kind of imagine that on that goatee. Let's see, the Lone Ranger got him really into the part. In fact, Lone Ranger, where's he anyway? We really can't do it, the Lone Ranger without the Lone Ranger. Where the heck were you?
I was in the bathroom. I'm elderly. I need that.
Why didn't you wear the pants like the rest of us? That's quite a costume you got going there. Where'd you get all that stuff?
I let my finger do the walking, Amazon for most of this stuff. And that, of course, is the hat, the kerchief, the shirt, and I had this beautiful cowboy belt as well. As you can see, I'm not wearing it today. I think I left it with Tonto. I'm not sure about that. But I also got the pants and I got the boots, all from Amazon.
It's kind of a fancy looking six gun you got there. Where'd you get that?
Oh, my gun. This is a Fanner 50 Tef gun. From the 1950, this thing was manufactured. It's a relic. Not like me.
Why is that?
Okay, here's the deal. I just forgot that line. But we're going to go ahead and do this, aren't we? Okay, I actually ordered 2 guns, 2 holsters. And you would think that would be perfect. They were ordered from different people. When they actually arrived, they were both right-handed holsters. Okay, that's great for the right-hand side, but for the left-hand side, that gun is pointing backwards. Couldn't do that.
That's a pretty good looking mask you got going there, but I didn't think the Lone Ranger wore glasses.
The Lone Ranger is elderly. I'm sorry.
Let's bring out the rest of our cast. Come on, cast. The cast of the Lone Ranger, everyone. The ones that are wearing pictures of guys, too. All right, cast, you guys ready to go? Anybody have to go to the bathroom? You're all wearing the pins, right? Okay, Lone Ranger, you ready?
I'm ready. Hail Silver, away!
A fiery horse at the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver, the Lone Ranger. Return with us now to the storming days of yesteryear. For battle of the mask of the thundering horse beats of the great horse Silver, the Lone Ranger rides again. In the early days of the western United States, outlaws roamed the territory. Usually working in small bands, they attacked ranches, running off cattle and stealing whatever they could get their hands on. But occasionally, an outlaw with a gift of leadership became ambitious. A former saloon girl by the name of Sadie Lewis was such a woman. She welcomed new recruits from saloon girls and widows until her band became a small army. She was then able to not only defy the local sheriff, but government troops as well. Scarface Sadie, as she was known, was such a woman, and her meeting with a masked rider of the plains is one of the most exciting episodes in the history of the early West because of her all-woman gang of cutthroat criminals. As our story begins, having just lost a battle with the Mexican army, Scarface Sadie and her gang regroup in their hideout.
All right, listen up. That was really a bad one. We lost a lot of us in that battle, and we're low on ammunition and guns. We can't afford to lose another one like that again. But I have a plan. So, Katie, I want you to take 10 of the gals and ride over to Dover. Carla, I want you and Missy to head to Preston, but wear regular clothes so you're not spotted. Then here's what I want you to do.
In the little town of Preston, where the army post is located, Mary Wilson, the daughter of the court's major, has just arrived at the home of Matt and Bess Badger for dinner. Matt is an engineer on the town's railroad and is returning home from his one-day-a-week off with his wife and son.
Mary, it is so good to have you over for dinner. Matt and I are so glad you met our son. Speaking of our son, where is he?
You need to ask? The train is in town. Dale spends every moment he has up in that engine.
Oh, that boy. He wants to be a railroad man, just like his pa.
Well, he would be a really good one. He has shown me all the controls and he knows how to use all of them. Don't tell his pa, but he took me out for a ride last week when the train was here overnight.
Well, I guess there's no stopping him. He's definitely got railroading in his blood. So how are you liking it here at the fort?
I love it. After my mother died, I vowed I'd move out here to be with my father as soon as I finish school. He's not happy about it, but I'm 18 and there's nothing he can do.
Oh, hi, honey. Mary, what a great surprise to have you here tonight.
Hello, Mr. Badger.
Shucks, Mary, don't call me. You can call me Matt. I wouldn't know who you was talking to if you called me Mr. Badger. Hey, hi, Mom. What's for supper? I'm starving. Where's Dale?
Oh, I reckon he's down.
Down at the fort? He's been helping out with the stables.
Well, I hope he gets here soon, because I'm really hungry.
Oh, it sure feels good having you home, Matt. Sometimes I get so lonesome. I wish you weren't working for the railroad.
Oh, come on now, Bess. You know working for the railroad means I'd be gone 6 days a week.
But it ain't just being lonesome. If it were railroading back east where things are safer, I'd likely not mind much. Like here in Preston, with the Indians and the hold-up men, I'm figuring of you in the cab up in the mountains in that engine and on the steep canyon, you're likely to run off the track. I can't sleep half the time thinking of it.
Oh, honey, come on now. It ain't near as bad as you make out.
And our boy thinking of railroading all the time, saying he's going to be an engineer as soon as the company will take him on.
Well, he'll have to be a fireman first, and then he needs to learn all the controls besides.
That ain't no safer.
Well, really, Mr. Matt? Dale already knows every control on the engine.
Hey, folks. Oh, Mary, I just heard some news. Big news.
Dale, where have you been?
Just watching the train coming in from Clarksville.
Pa's been asking for you, and it's not polite to invite Mary for dinner and not be here when she arrives.
I'm sorry, Mary. But wait till I tell you what I've heard.
Well, I reckon it's something big, seeing as how you're all out of breath.
It is. Just listen to this. Scarface Sadie is on this side of the border.
Scarface Sadie? Why, well, she hasn't been on this side of the border for months.
She and all her gang. They say there must be 200 or 300 of them.
Who is Scarface Sadie?
The worst scum of all the West. She used to be a saloon prostitute. One day, one of the cowboys cut up her face really bad. She grabbed his gun and shot and killed him. The local sheriff arrested her for murder and threw her in jail. Two of the saloon girls broke her out. They shot and killed the sheriff. Then they rounded up all the saloon girls, robbed the bank, killed the bank manager, and they got away with over $10,000. Sadie has been recruiting saloon girls and widows for years. She now has an all-woman gang of up to 300 of them now.
You think she's coming this way?
Don't worry, Mom. She wouldn't do that with all the soldiers there is at the fort. Not them gals. No, word is they're seen headed going into Dover. Maybe going to make that their new hideout.
Good Lord.
Those poor folks up there.
What's Sadie cross the border for?
She had a big fight with the soldiers on the other side of the border in Mexico and lost. She might have lost up to 50 or 60 of her gang. She came on this side to get away from them.
Somebody ought to get those gals and string them up by the neck.
She calls herself a queen, don't she?
Yeah, she hires every saloon girl and widow she can find and calls herself an army. But that don't make them from being a bunch of murdering outlaws. And she don't get a pass just because she's a woman either. Just because she likes to call herself a queen, don't make her one. She's no more than a low-down, thieving murderer.
You should have seen the commotion at the fort when the news come in.
Is the major going after him?
You bet. He's got to. If Sadie raids Dover, she'll wipe all of the folks up there.
Oh, I better go and see my father off then. I'll see you all later.
Bye,
Bye,
Mary.
Mary.
Come back soon when things settle down. They won't have a chance. Oh dear, who is it? Come in.
Oh, howdy, Herb.
Matt, grab your hat and coat. You and me are gonna take the train to Dover. I've got steam in the engine just waiting to pull out.
This is Matt's day off.
It don't make no difference, man. These are Army orders. We're hauling soldiers into the mountains so they can get out and Scarface City. You'd better hurry, Matt.
Yeah, hey, I'm ready to go.
Pa, can I go with you?
I should say not.
But Pa, maybe I can help you.
Don't be pressing me, boy. Bess, where's my hat?
Here you are, Matt. Please be careful.
Well, we have to wait for the soldiers, Herb.
They'll be loading up now. Close to 300 of them and their horses, too.
Golly, that's gonna make a pretty hard pull up that mountain grade.
It has to be done, Matt. You ready?
Aha! Goodbye, honey. We'll likely be home by tomorrow night.
Oh, Matt, please take care of yourself.
Bye, Pa.
We better hurry, Matt. The major says we've got to be in Dover by tomorrow morning.
You've got steam up, you say?
Steam up and everything's set. All you have to do is open up the throttle.
Gosh, you weren't very wrong when you said there was close to 500 soldiers going.
The major's taking nearly every man he has at the fort.
Well, if he gets Scarface City, it's a good thing.
Here's the major now. Hi, Major. Here's Matt.
Are you ready to start? We need to pull out in 30 seconds. I'll give the order when we're ready.
Here, let me help you up, Matt.
Oh, well, thank you. This is going to be a ride to remember.
Captain Dudley, order those men to get in the car. Sergeant, see to those. Make sure those horses are secure in those cars.
You watching for the signal to highball?
Uh-huh.
The major sounds like he means business, and when he sounds like that Scarface Sadie, better watch out.
Yep.
Matt, are you ready?
All set, Major.
We're ready. Let's get going.
Okay, here we go. Herb, you keep the steam up. We're going to need it to get up that grade with all this weight.
I'll give you enough pressure to blow out the boiler.
Howdy, friends.
What in blazes? What are you gals doing up here?
They just climbed aboard, and they got guns.
That's right. We've got both of you covered. Keep this train running and do what we tell you to do, or it's a belly full of lead.
It was scarcely 30 minutes after the soldiers had left the fort when Lieutenant Rooney, in charge of the fort in the major's absence, was startled by loud voices outside his office.
Man, you guys can't get in there.
What in blazes?
Don't try and stop me.
Put those guns down.
Not until you take me to Major Wilson.
Major Wilson isn't here. Now get out before I...
Isn't here. Where is he?
You're wearing a mask. I'm not going to tell an outlaw.
I'm not an outlaw. This mask is on the side of law and order. Now, where's the major?
I'll tell you where. He's gone, and there's nothing you can do to stop him.
Gone where? To Dover?
Yep, by train. And then when he gets there, he's going to wipe out that whole rotten bunch.
I came here to warn Major Wilson of Scarface Sadie's intentions. We've been following Sadie ever since she crossed the border to learn her plans. Lieutenant, she has no more intentions of attacking Dover than you do.
That's a lie. We have information
With
that...
Scarface Sadie supplied for her own reasons. It's a trick, Lieutenant. Sadie sent only a few women to Dover to frighten the people and make them think that she's attacking with her full force. Right now, she's coming here by way of Eagle Pass with more than 200 of her gang.
I don't believe it.
Listen to me. What reason would Sadie have for attacking Dover? What she needs are guns and ammunition. With those, she can recross the border and fight the soldiers on even terms.
Seems possible.
She's clever, She knows she's not safe on this side of the border. She's planned just one daring raid and then an escape back to Mexico.
Well, if that's true,
It
then...
is true. What's more, she sent 2 women here ahead of her. They probably came here to look over the ground to see if her trick worked.
Where are those women now?
Tano went into town to check on them while I came here.
Tano?
A friend of mine, an Indian.
Well, we'll pick up those women. If you're telling the truth, the major will have to be told about it and brought back here. You said that Sadie is on the Eagle Pass right now?
She is.
Thank heaven, there's still time to get those soldiers back here.
Wait, you can't go in there.
Out of my way!
It's okay. He's with me. Tano, the 2 women. Did you follow them?
Me get there too late, Kimosabe.
What's that?
Me not see them. Other fellows see them. Him say they get an engine.
Major Wilson and the soldiers are on the train, and the outlaws are in the engine.
Now, what can we do?
If we only knew their plans. Tano, the train has to climb a steep grade to get to Dover.
That's right, Kimosabe.
That train won't be able to travel at full speed. Scout could get you to Dover almost as soon as the train.
Ah,
You're going to ride to Dover. Perhaps the 2 women he saw get into the cab weren't the outlaws.
Tonto think they are.
And I'm afraid you're right. But if the soldiers arrive in Dover safely, give Major Wilson a message to return. He's an old friend. Tell him I sent you.
Tonto do that, Kimosabe.
It'll be morning in a few hours. Lieutenant,
Yes?
we don't know why those 2 women boarded the train. Perhaps there's a branch line between here and Dover. They might plan on forcing the engine over to sidetrack the soldiers to delay them long enough to allow Sadie to attack and get away.
Well, there is a branch line. It goes to Dawson. It hasn't been used in years, though.
Your men are equipped with heliographs, mirrors to reflect the sun and send signals.
Of course.
Then get one for Tano.
What's he going to do with it?
If he finds the soldiers have been sidetracked, he can tell us. He'll be in the mountains. It'll be easy for him to send a message and for us to receive it.
Yeah, you're right. Sergeant, give me 2 heliographs. One for Tano and one for this masked man.
Okay, that way we'll know what happened. It'll be easy for us to make our plans. Now hurry, so Tonto can get on his way.
Throughout the night, the train toiled up the steepest grade of the mountain, the tracks laying the sheer cliffs on one side and the drop-off of 1,000 feet on the other. During all that time, Matt and Herb were conscious of the unwavering guidance of the 2 outlaws who stood over them.
There's no use you pretending. We know you gals are with Scarface Sadie, but you won't get away with it.
You're doing well enough. You'd better be off if you paid attention to your work than missing me here.
You getting pretty close to Dover yet?
Couldn't be more than 25 miles or so.
And just how do you gals think you're going to get away from the soldiers after we reach town?
That's just it. The soldiers ain't going there.
What do you mean they ain't going there?
Don't get anxious. There's passenger cars kept on the track there in Dover, right?
Sure there are. There always is.
That's just fine. Those cars will be coming in handy. Sadie sent some of the gals to Dover to make the folks think all of us is nearby.
You mean you ain't?
If we was, nobody would know about it until it was too late.
Sadie's marching on the fort this very minute. And we're planning on using those cars in Dover to pick up the other gals and meeting Sadie back at the fort. By the time we get back there, she'll likely have it took over.
You won't get away with it.
Keep your big mouth shut.
Missy, is it time to stop the train?
I can look. Looks like it's a good place as anywhere. Stop the train.
Stop the train. What for?
Don't ask so many questions.
But I tell you, you
When
can't
I
stop.
tell you to stop, you stop. Any soldier pokes his head out the window, you tell him nothing's wrong.
But you can't get away with this.
Stop this train.
You better do what she says, man. These girls ain't the kind that hesitate about shooting.
But to stop on this grade, we'll never be able to get it started again.
We'll worry about that. You just follow orders.
You gals must be plumb loco.
Don't argue with him, Colonel. Just shoot him.
Wait a minute, I'm stopping, I'm stopping. Don't shoot.
Matt, what'd you stop for?
It ain't nothing, Major. We'll be on our way in a minute.
Very well, but don't delay us.
Was he outside the train?
No, he just shouted from the window.
Now climb out of the cab, fellas. I got something for you to do. And if you'll find it mighty easy.
Steady, old boy. We should be getting Tano's signal soon. If there's anything that's delayed him. What's that? Light signal. Silver. Oh boy, it's Tano. Whoa. Lieutenant. Whoa. Whoa, Silver, old boy. Lieutenant.
Hey, any signal from your friend Tonto?
Lieutenant, Scarface City has done something I didn't even think she was capable of.
Yeah, what?
The train has stopped 20 miles this side of Dover.
There's no branch line at that point, and they stopped at the steepest part of the grade. They'll never get started again.
The train stopped and Sadie's two women uncoupled the train cars from the train.
You mean the train cars, or?
I mean, the train cars are loose and rolling away down the grade. When they jump the tracks, every man inside will fall to his death.
Hold it up.
To recap our story, the Lone Ranger has just received the startling news from Tuttle that the railroad cars carrying 500 soldiers were hurtling down the mountainside unchecked. He brought the news to Lieutenant Rooney at the fort.
Every man will be killed. Every last man.
Listen to me, Lieutenant. Listen to me. How many men do you have here at the fort?
What difference does it make?
How many men do you have here?
Only 15.
Sadie will be here in only a few hours. Send your men into town. Warn the townspeople. Get every man, woman, and child inside the fort.
We'll never be able to hold out.
You can for a while. I don't have a second to explain. Just do as I suggest. Get those people inside the fort.
Sergeant, come in here.
Come on, Silver, old boy.
Have you heard anything about the soldiers yet, son?
Not a word, Mom.
Oh. I just can't sit still thinking about what's going on.
Oh, shucks, there's no sense in doing that. I'd say the safest place to be is right where Pa is, with the soldiers. And as for getting word, you know as well as I do, there ain't no word until the train gets back.
I suppose I'm being foolish.
Well, of course you are. It's a masked man!
My son, what are you doing? Dale! Dale! What are you doing?
He won't be harmed.
Let me go!
Up in that saddle with you.
I ain't going nowhere with a masked man. Put me down!
Come on, Silver, old boy.
What's the big idea? Why did you grab me? What do you want me for?
Sorry, Dale, to have frightened your mother. I didn't have time to explain. This is a matter of life and death. I'm told by Mary Wilson that you can run an engine.
Well, of course I can, but not to help an outlaw.
I'm not an outlaw. This mask is on the side of law and order. The train's engineer is drunk, so I need you. Do you think Mary Wilson would have told an outlaw about you being able to drive a train? We need to save the lives of 500 men. Get down and get up there in the engine. Mary says you are the only man in town who can run it. Now get in that cab.
In the meantime, obeying the Lone Ranger's instructions, Lieutenant Rooney sent his men to direct the townspeople to get inside the fort. In a frenzy of fear and confusion, thrown in the panic by the dreaded name of the Scar-faced Sadie, the townspeople gathered their families, loaded their possessions into carts, wagons, and across the saddles of horses, into and onto anything available. For hours, a steady stream of wagons, horses, and carts covered the short distance between the town and the fort.
Come on, let's go.
All the fort was in chaos as first baggage was strewn throughout the fort. Wagons and untied horses got in everyone's way. Children were lost and frantic mothers searched for them. Men kept themselves busy with useless, unappointed tasks. But at length, the direction of Lieutenant Rooney and Mary Wilson, the discipline of the small band of soldiers, prevailed and a measure of order was finally restored.
Get those horses out of the way. Get the children to the barracks. All men, stand by for orders. Women, make ready to load the guns. Sergeant, have ammunition brought from the magazine.
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant,
Yes, what is it?
look over there, down the trail. Do you see anything?
It's Scarface Sadie and her gang. This is the time the masked man said she'd be here.
Oh, Lieutenant, they'll kill all of us.
Not before they know they've been in a fight. Men to the stockades. Make ready for an attack.
With a head of steam in the boiler and Dale at the throttle, the engine taken by the Lone Ranger raced from town and up the mountainside. While he fed wood into the firebox of the engine, the Lone Ranger explained his purpose to the young man.
So that's why you made me come along.
Oh, yes, we may lose our lives in the effort, but it certainly is worth it if we can save the lives of 500 men.
I'm glad you made me do it.
I knew you'd feel that way once you understood, but I wouldn't have hesitated, even if I had known you wouldn't. There's too much at stake.
I sure hope those cars don't jump the tracks before we get to them.
There's nothing we can do about that.
Do you think the crooks killed Pa and her?
Man, I don't know. Tonto was nearby, and if there was any way to prevent it, he would have done it.
You said Tonto.
Yes, I did. He is an Indian friend of mine.
I've heard that name before, but I can't seem to place it.
Perhaps you have. But that doesn't matter right now. All that matters is we get to those runaway cars as fast as we can.
The only problem is them coming towards us and we're going towards them. If we don't see them in time, there ain't gonna be enough of us left to know who we was.
The runaway cars gathered speed as they rolled down the tracks, the cars leaping from side to side, threatening to leave the tracks and plunge into the forbidden canyon. Inside the car, the soldiers were paralyzed with fear. There wasn't a man among them who didn't realize they were doomed to certain death. All the time, the engine taken by Dale and the railroad cars containing 500 soldiers were racing towards each other. At the town, at the fort too, the townspeople, with a small band of soldiers, expected only death at the hands of Scarface Sadie and her band of cutthroat criminals.
Are all the men armed?
All guns and the ammunition have been passed around, and the men are ready, and they're waiting for your orders, sir.
Don't fire until I give the word.
Yes, sir.
How many of them are there?
Not more than 200.
Is there anything I can do?
There is. Have some of the women make up bandages. The others stand by with the ammunition. Our guns must be loaded as fast as they're empty. And Mary,
Yes?
the most important thing you can do is to keep the women from becoming bandits.
Shucks, the women are no more frightened than the men are, and I'll see to the bandages and the bullets.
Ladies getting ready to attack. Men, get ready to fire. Make every bullet count. Take aim. Fire.
There it is, gals. Pay no attention to their shooting. There ain't no more than a dozen soldiers in there, and the townspeople don't count. Are you ready? Then let's take them. We'll wipe out the whole blasted bunch of them. Let's go!
We've got a full head of steam. We should be coming up to them any minute now.
If they haven't jumped the track yet, stick your head out the window, will you? I can't see around the corner. You'll be able to see them better than me. Do you see them?
Yes, they're coming. Get ready to stop and put her in reverse when I tell you.
I sure hope they don't catch us before we get turned around.
Well, if they do, we'll never know it. Okay, Dale, throw it in reverse. Now, back up and head towards town.
Give me more steam.
You got it.
Get my rifle loaded.
They held us off that time, but they won't do it again. Load up your guns and get ready for another charge. Our gal should be coming back from Dover in about 30 minutes. I told them we'd be inside the fort when they got there. That's one promise I intend on keeping. Come on when they say the word. Follow me!
There's supposed to be a train coming. But apparently it's not. There it is. Was that the sound of a train?
It sure was.
The train's coming. It's a little slow.
Supposed to be there again, but apparently it's not. There it is again! But I don't understand. The masked man said those cars had been uncoupled.
Perhaps the masked man has some plan.
I don't see what he could have done to prevent the crash.
Well, Sadie's getting ready to attack again. I'm afraid we won't be able to hold her off much longer.
We've got to hold them off.
What are those people shouting about?
It's my father and all of his men.
So,
How in the blazes did they do it?
I don't know. Watch out. Sadie, she's charging. Every man to a station. Fire at will. Hold off, Scarface Sadie.
Typical train always runs late. Bewildered by the presence of the soldiers they thought dead, the outlaw army fell into confusion. But there was no escape for them. With a fort on one side and advancing soldiers on the other, and like Scarface Sadie and her followers, seeing themselves in danger of being killed to the very last one, threw away their guns and the victory was won. While the outlaws were being held inside the fort by the major and his men, Bess Badger spoke to the Lone Ranger.
What happened to Matt? Where is he?
I'm sorry. I don't know. I just don't know right now.
Mom,
Dale, you're back. Are you okay, son? I was so worried when the masked man broke in. At least I knew you weren't being taken by outlaws, but I was worried about what he had planned.
yeah, Mom, I'm fine.
People sabi, whoa, Scout, whoa.
Great! There's Tonald with 2 men. Tonald, you made it back.
Matt, honey, it's you.
Ah, you're wounded.
Yeah, it ain't much. Just what those gals did to me and Herb when I refused to uncouple the train.
They shot you?
Yeah, they shot me and then knocked Herb out. Then they uncoupled the cars and jumped in the engine and took it on to Dover to get the rest of their gals. One of those gals said her dead husband used to work for the railroad and he had taught her how to run a train.
Yeah, they seem to know how to handle an engine for all right. I seen them take off when it come to.
They went on to Dover to get the rest of their gang.
Yeah, they were going to pick them up and then come back here.
Lieutenant,
Yes, sir.
this man has information that the rest of Sadie's gang will be coming back here thinking that Sadie has conquered the fort. You can take some men to the train station and capture the rest of them. And you'll have the last of the worst female killer this country has ever known.
But I don't understand how you were able to get us here.
Dale deserves all the credit for that, and he can tell you better than I can.
Dale?
Did you have a hand in saving the soldiers, son?
I just done what the masked man told me. We went up the tracks with another engine until we caught sight of the other cars.
Well, go on.
When we seen them, we started backing up just as fast as we could. We were only going about 1 or 2 miles an hour slower than the cars were. So when they hit us, the bump didn't amount to much.
Oh, son.
After that, there wasn't much left to it. We just slowed down, and the car slowed down with us. And then we just come back to town with some soldiers.
And saved us and the fort.
Dale, you are a railroad man by thunder, and you're a better one than your old pa.
Where'd the masked man go? I wanted to thank him. We don't even know his name.
Gee, Dale, don't you know who that was? He's been a friend to my father and I for years. That's a Lone Ranger. Here, he gave me this silver bullet to give to you.
Hail, Silver, away!
Hey, Sadie.
If you get your choices, bring it back to the table as soon as possible so we can start our next show. Thank you.
Hail, Silver, away!
Fiery horse and speed of light, a cloud of dust, and the hardy Hail Silver, the Lone Ranger. Return with us now to those strolling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering horse beats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again. entire state of Texas. They robbed banks, trains, and stagecoaches. They burned homes, stole cattle, and murdered anyone they encountered. The local sheriffs were powerless to stop them, as they never left a trail of witnesses behind for the lawmen to follow. As our story opens, we find the Lone Ranger and his loyal Indian companion, Tonto, racing towards the flaming buildings of the Box X Ranch.
Look, Tonto, that house and barn are on fire. Hello, Silver, away!
Get him up, Scout!
It looks more like the work of the Ghost Raiders, Tonto.
That right, Kimosabe?
Whoa, Silver, steady, boy. If there's anyone alive from this fire, we might get there in time to rescue them and to find a clue.
No one left alive there, Kimosabe.
I'm afraid you're right, Tonto. Let's make sure, though. Someone might still be alive in that burning house. This is the third time we've seen this kind of thing. Tonto, whoa, Silver, whoa, wait, hold on.
Me here, man, in there. Him still alive?
Tonto, you're right. It sounds like he's over there by the fireplace. Yes, over there. Tonto, go see how badly he's hurt.
Oh, my head. My head hurts.
Steady there. We're here to help.
Right, Kimosabe.
Oh, my head feels like it's cracked wide open.
Him got bad bump on head.
He hit me with a rifle butt. Oh, but I can still see good, mister.
Hold on there. Just take it easy. You're hurt pretty badly.
But I thought I heard somebody groaning a while back. Someone else has survived, I think.
Tonto, take a look around. I've got to get him out of this house before the roof falls down.
Me do that, Kimosabe.
Oh.
There it is again. Help, whoever it is, stranger, please.
There's a woman, Kimosabe. Her alive. Me carry her out, too.
Who is it?
Is that you, Sheriff Burns? I thought them deals had killed everyone. Sheriff?
It sounds like Laura. Oh, my head will clear up. Oh.
It's me. All right. Sheriff, meet Laura Halstead.
Laura, you hurt bad? Laura.
They got me in the shoulder, but it ain't so bad. I was trying to drag myself out the house before the smoke got to me. But I passed out again. My shoulder, it's oh.
You'll be all right soon. We help.
Hurry, Tonto. We have to get these two out of here before the roof falls in.
Oh, my eyes seem better now. Thanks, stranger.
Lie still now. You've had a tough time of it.
A masked man in an engine? You're part of the outlaw gang. You're...
We aren't outlaws. This mask is on the side of law and order. We saw the fire and came to help. Now, whose ranch is this?
It's Laura Halstead's.
Yeah, or at least it was. Tain't nothing left now. Oh.
That's Laura Halstead there, you see? And I'm the sheriff.
I see your badge.
My name is Burns, Sheriff Burns. Now, if you aim to really help, you'll find a way to get us to town.
We'll get you into town, all right, Sheriff.
I've got to get a posse together, and I got to go after those outlaws. I've got to get to them and...
You need to rest first. You're in no shape to lead a posse. But you can help me. Give me some information. Do you have any idea who these raiders are?
No, we couldn't see any of them. They had all their faces covered, like you, masked man.
This is a masked gang, and this isn't their first raid. Have you heard of the Ghost Raiders? They've already struck at half a dozen ranches east of here.
They have? Why haven't we heard about it?
They never leave survivors. And news travels slowly in this part of the country in spite of the railroad.
Then we're plumb lucky to be alive.
Very lucky you escaped.
What else do you know about them, mister?
I know only two things. They seem to attack in regular intervals, and no one has been able to find their trail. They leave not a trace. They vanish like ghosts.
Is that so? Ghost? Huh. Well, I don't believe in no ghosts. This is beginning to make me hopping mad. Do they always attack ranches like mine?
Just like yours, Laura. 3 weeks ago, they attacked a ranch about 40 miles east of here. And 3 weeks before that, they made another attack. And just 3 weeks before that, another. No survivors.
Dad, blame it. Them varmints.
And no trace of the cattle they stole has ever been found.
Well, land's sake. They got nearly 400 head of my cattle. So where do you think they're hiding them?
I don't know, Laura, but I have an idea. Sheriff, is your head better now?
Oh, it still hurts like thunderation, but I'll be all right.
Well enough to ride tomorrow?
Yep, I expect so.
To trail the outlaws. If my idea is right, I want you along so I can show you proof.
Well, mask or no mask, I'm with you, stranger.
And you can count on me too. Carnations, I'm with you.
You can't travel with that shoulder, Laura. You take it easy for a few days.
But where? Them embers all left of my ranch? I ain't got no home. All I work for is gone.
Nah, you come stay in my house, Laura. My wife and I'll be plumb happy to have you.
Well, I reckon I can settle with that. Thank you, Sheriff.
We'll take you there as soon as Tano finishes the bandage.
Grateful to you, Tano.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to ask, Laura, but is your husband among the dead here?
No, my husband was killed about 3 years ago in a stagecoach robbery. I still miss him.
I'm sorry to hear that. Tell me a little more about the stagecoach holdup.
Well, there ain't much to tell. You see, my husband was coming back from a business trip in Weaverville. The stage was robbed of about $1,000. Those low-down devils killed everyone, including my husband. I planted to meet the daisies in our yard, and I've been running the ranch ace high alone ever since.
The Lone Ranger and Tonto put out the fire, but it's a total loss. Laura's home is completely destroyed. They discovered that all 20 of her ranch hands have been killed by the Ghost Raiders. Not a single head of cattle is left, not one. Later that day, Sheriff Burns and Laura feel well enough to travel, and the Lone Ranger and Tonto bring the two victims back to Osage. The next morning, the Lone Ranger and Tonto meet with Sheriff Burns and the bank manager, Harvey Anderson, at Mrs. O'Leary's cafe to discuss strategy.
Top of the morning, Sheriff Burns. What's this now? Is a masked man and an engine you be bringing to Mrs. O'Leary?
Nah, it's okay, Mrs. O'Leary. They're on the side of law and order. Hi there, masked man. Hey, this here is the masked man and his partner Tonto, who helped Laura and me out the Halstead ranch yesterday. Masked man, this is the town's bank manager, Harvey Anderson. And this is Mrs. O'Leary. She owns this eating establishment, and I got to tell you, she serves up some mighty fine victuals.
Well now, Sheriff, you must have been kissing the old Blondie stone again. You better be careful, or I'll stack more Johnny cakes on your plate. Would you and the engine like something mighty tasty to eat, masked man?
No thanks. Maybe just a cup of coffee for Tonto and me. Do you have any more news about this gang?
We were just talking. We think this is the same gang, the Ghost Raiders, that have been robbing stagecoaches and trains round about here.
Harvey, I believe you're right. And I'll bet these are the same outlaws who killed Laura Halstead's husband. But tell me, why do you think these are the Ghost Raiders?
Well, because they never leave anyone alive that could identify them. And they only strike when there is gold, cash, or cattle to steal. Exactly the same as the other robberies, and no one ever lives to see them. Like ghosts, they just vanished.
Okay then. When's the last time they robbed a train?
Well, that's the strange part, see? 2 months ago, Harvey and I planned a trip ambush for them with a big gold shipment was planted on the train, but they never attacked. We was all set up to catch them, but they never showed, and they haven't been seen since. Ghosts!
They did rob a stage about 3 months ago, a month or so before our planned ambush. They got away with a boatload of cash and headed for the bank. They did, but no survivors. Could have been the same gang as burned down Laura's place.
Sure you know.
be the same gang if in the last time the gang struck twice 3 months ago? Well, in my opinion, I think those robbers got enough money and they're long gone to Mexico maybe. 'Tis mighty grand down in Mexico way, you know, even for a band of ghosties.
I doubt that's true. Outlaws will be outlaws all their lives. They're evil men, and they will never have enough money.
We never could understand how they knew when to strike, or when the trains and stagecoaches had gold cash, or when the cattle was within raiding distance. The only two people who knew when those shipments were arranged and who knew about the planned ambush were the sheriff and me.
Well, maybe they're not ghosts, they're leprechauns, and they have the luck of the Irish.
Tono, sounds like the same gang to me.
Me think that right, Kimosabe. Them stop steal gold, now steal cattle.
Harvey, you say the last episode before the failed ambush was about 3 months ago.
Yep, then after that, all of a sudden, they just stopped cold. Darnest thing until the Halstead Ranch.
And Goya, Sheriff Burns, 'tis a miracle indeed. You and Laura Halstead were the only ones who survived. The saints preserve us.
Yeah, we were lucky.
Now, me Irish eyes tells me that it was the same gang. They wouldn't have spared you and Laura. No, boyo. They shouldn't. Surely wouldn't. You'd be goners.
Yeah, no, Miss Larry. I tell you what, we thought we were goners. If it hadn't been for the masked man here in Tono, riding in when they did, we would have been killed in the fire just like everyone else.
Sheriff, could you give us directions to the location where this gang robbed the stage 3 months ago, their last episode before this one?
As the old saying goes, the hills are not green out there. Why would you want to go out to a desolate spot? 'Twas over 3 months ago, boyo.
I have my reasons, and I'd rather not say right now.
The same day, the Lone Ranger and Tonto make camp outside of town and visit the location of the preventable stagecoach robbery the next day. As they ride in, they're suddenly ambushed by 2 of the outlaws who are hiding in rocks above the trails.
Well, come on, Tonto, head for those rocks over there.
Where them at, Kimosabe?
The shots came from in between those rocks up there. Up there!
I see. 2 men shoot at us. Them ride on trail up in rock. Too hard to follow.
Tonto, are you okay?
Them might come close to me. One of them bad shot. One almost hit you, Kimosabe.
Yes, Tonto. If it hadn't been for Silver, they would have hit me. Silver reared up just before the shot, and so it missed me.
He a really smart horse.
Oh, you said them?
That's right, Kimosabe. 2 men shoot at us. One not very good shot. Why do you think them shoot at us?
Someone told the Ghost Raiders that we would be coming out here today, and I think I know who. Look around, Tonto, and see what clues you can find out about the stagecoach robbery.
Well, this red dirt, it only in this area. It's pretty soft. The dust leaves many horse print. Me think there are 30 horses here.
Let's go, Tonto. I need to talk to the sheriff. Fast. Hi-yo, Silver. Away.
The Lone Ranger wins the full confidence of the sheriff. The next day, he and Tonto spend the day studying the ruins of the Box X Ranch and waiting for the sheriff to arrive.
That Sheriff Burns coming now, Tonto.
Him right on time.
Tonto, I'm sure our idea is right, but it may be hard to prove.
Whoa there, boy. Here I am, masked man. So now, what is there here? What the idea of yours to catch them scallywags?
I'll tell you later. But first, Tonto and I have already found a trail that might be that of the outlaws.
Found it? How'd you find that, by jingo? The thief wiped that trail clean. I couldn't find a squirrel track.
My friend here has no equal in finding and reading trails.
Well, I reckon I've heard them engines are uncanny that way. You riding the trail?
Just waiting for you.
Well, I'm here. Let's head out. You're right about that engine part of yours. He's better than a blind bloodhound when it comes to following the trail. And that's not all.
Oh, what's that?
Well, he fixed up Laura Halstead up as good as new. Her shoulder's fine. Doc says he can't believe it. But she'll be up and around in another day or so. I tell you, Laura was raring to go this morning. Would have too, if I hadn't forced her to stay home in bed.
I'm glad to hear that, Sheriff. Her shoulder will be completely healed in a short time.
Yep, sure will.
Then she'll be able to help us with the attack on the outlaw gang.
That's right. She'll be able to help attack. What? Gosh, you ain't a big on attacking them critters, are you? There must be 60 or more of them from what I hear. They're all devils. All of them.
Why not?
Why, I can't get enough men together to go after them. I'd be lucky to get 15, maybe 20 men all told.
We'll worry about that after we locate them, Sheriff.
Okay, masked man. You seem to know what you're doing. Leastwise, I sure as hell beans hope you do. Ghost raiders, 60 of them. Attacking us women and surely, oh, God.
Whoa, Scout. Whoa, boy.
Whoa, whoa. Why'd you stop, Tonto?
Trail in. Trail in here.
The railroad tracks? Ha! I knew it.
You're right, Kimosari.
Good. Very good.
Good. I don't see what's good about it. There ain't nothing here but them dad-blasted railroad tracks as far as the eye can see. No more trail. Now we're going to have to...
Those tracks, Sheriff, tell the entire story. Are you absolutely certain, Tonto, the trail of the cattle stops at the railroad tracks?
That's right.
Well, if the trail went farther, we could follow the cattle a darn sight easier. Up here, there's so darn many hoof marks, it's all mixed up.
That's exactly why those outlaws have been so secure.
I don't see it.
Get off your horse, Burns. Let me show you something.
All right. Okay.
This flat rock will work well to draw on. I'll use this sharp stone here to scratch lines. Look here. This is the railroad track. See?
Yeah, okay.
Right here is the Circle K Ranch. That was the first one to be raided by the outlaws, conveniently near the tracks. You see that?
Yeah. I don't know that they've been raided, though.
All the men were wiped out, the buildings burned, and all the cattle stolen. Now, following the tracks towards the west, you find the next ranch.
Yeah.
That was raided in the same way, just 3 weeks after the Circle K Ranch tragedy. Follow the tracks. The next ranch was west of that. And here, the next ranch after that. And so on, every 3 weeks, until we come to the Box X.
Laura Halstead's place.
And that brings us to right here, where once again the cattle trail ends at the boundary of the train tracks.
Same thing happened in the rest of the other branches?
Yes, and that proves the railroad train was here to transport the stolen cattle to some market in the east.
So that's how them dang polecats move them longhorns.
It is.
And hang it all, it means that the next attack should occur when the next train comes in to head east.
Exactly.
Which is Jeb Cummins' ranch. Yeah, that's the next place to the west. Jeb Cummins' ranch will be next.
I'm sure of it, Sheriff.
Shucks. We'll be using that for sure. There ain't a chance of getting enough men to fight them outlaws. They've got an army of men lined up. All of them two-gun men, well-mounted, and not a tenderfoot among them.
Well, then, suppose you do nothing and just let the outlaws take over the state.
Well,
That's what you're suggesting.
Heck no, I'm not. I'm a hopping mad, that's what I am. I'm darned if I'm going to let them outlaws, skunks, take and ruin our community. I'm asking for your orders. Just tell me where to go and what men to fight, and then watch my gun smoke.
The outlaw gang is in their hideout, miles from where the Lone Ranger talks to the sheriff. Their camp is well concealed. They always cover their tracks, and they always feel absolutely secure.
You know, riding for miles on a choo-choo train is the slickest stunt I ever heard of.
You're right, Bart. It stops everyone from following the trail, including them bloodhounds.
Blackie, when is the boss due back?
Hey, just take my advice and don't ask no dingbat questions, Billy.
Billy, it don't make no good sense to ask questions about the boss. Boss Lacey don't like it.
I was just wondering, Bart.
Don't wonder, kid. You understand?
I savvy. Hey, horse coming in.
What's that, Miss Lacey now? I can tell her by her riding a mile off.
Wait a minute. The boss is a woman?
Yeah, she's a woman, but don't let that fool you. She's the fastest draw I ever seen, and I seen plenty, you see?
And she's mighty pretty, too.
Hey, are you hard-headed or something? You loco? Don't even go there. She'll drop you faster than you can think about. You know, she's on she wears. These crackers she's wearing every day. I've seen her go through 100 rounds a day. Blackie, you reckon she's got the dope on her next job?
I reckon so.
Wondering what it's gonna be.
Hey, Billy boy, I told you not to get too curious. Boss Lacey will tell us what we need to know.
She looks beautiful, but she's probably mad about something today. I wonder what the heck is going on here.
She looks awfully young to be the boss. Kinda sweet and all.
You don't worry about that. She's smart enough. Heck, who else do you know who could plan a job like this, huh? Sweet and all. Man, oh man.
Whoa! Hey, you, take care of my horse.
I think she's mad about something, mighty mad.
I got something to say to all you hombres, and I ain't gonna waste words, so listen up.
Yeah, but boss.
I just found out that after the raid on Bob Sands, you left 2 alive.
You mean to tell me that there's a posse on our trail
Did I say so, Bart? Did I?
No, sir. I mean, sir. No, ma'am.
Then shut up, Bart. You were supposed to see to that everyone was taken care of properly.
I could have sworn that one of those guys was dead.
How'd you come to miss out on Laura Holstead and Sheriff Burns?
I swore they were dead before the last time I saw them. It was in that burning house. I don't see how they could have survived that. No way, no darn way.
Well, they did, and they ain't dead.
Did they tell you anything about us, boss?
They don't know nothing more about us now than they did before the raid, but that ain't no excuse for you hombres. This is the last warning. From now on, if you fall down on the job, you get what we give to others. We're going through the plans on our next job, the Jeb Cubbins Ranch.
Boss, are we using the train again?
Did I say we weren't? Don't! As soon as the train is here, we move in on the Cummins Ranch.
Do things the same as the last time, boss?
Yeah, except for leaving survivors. We don't need to change our plans, none. Blackie, you and your boys take care of driving the cattle to the train.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll move.
Bart, I'm leaving you in charge of killing everyone. And Bart, don't mess it up this time. Jose, you and your men set fire to all the buildings.
Si, senor.
We've got some of our own men working at the Cummins Ranch. When we make our attack, they'll work from the inside out, and we'll work from the outside in.
You know, that's a pretty slick scheme, boss.
Now, pass the time as you want, but stay in camp. When the train comes, we start. Bart, I need to talk to you privately.
Okay, hey, what's up, boss?
I want you to go over to the Cummins Ranch tomorrow. Meet up with Rosa. She's working over there as a housekeeper. Find out what she's learned so far. Tell me how many cattle we can expect and get an exact count on the number of Cummins men they have working there. You keep count this time and you make sure you get them home. This time, no one gets out alive. Got it?
Yep, sure thing, boss. I'll get him this time.
Jake, you and Butch go.
What the boss want?
You know, Billy boy, you ask too many questions. Take care of your own job and you'll do just fine.
Blackie?
What?
Hey, listen, Pard. Can you tell me one thing? I've been hankering to find out how the boss works this railroad business. She's really smart.
No, I can't do it. No, well, maybe I can. Suppose there ain't no harm in telling you. Boss Lacey has a regular business worked out. The main office is over in Cattonville. You know where the railroad office is located.
Yeah, I know the town.
See, she also has connections with the cattle outfit in the east. They buy the cattle. When Boss Lacey sells the cattle, her railroad connection arranges to pick up the cattle at a certain ranch along the railroad line. Easy stuff.
But the ranches we attack, don't them firms know they're buying cattle that are stolen longhorns?
No, Boss Lacey has that all worked out too. We have a special way to change the brands on the cattle we are shipping them. That's one of the jobs you and I'll have when we get the cattle on the choo-choo train. Boy, is it fun.
Oh, okay. But what about the men who work the train? How do we take care of them?
Well, you see, there's only two of them, the engineer and the fireman.
Don't they care if they're loading stolen cattle?
Of course not. They don't care, because they're part of our game. They're one of us. Boss Lacey got them jobs with the railroad months ago. I tell you, she's got everything covered. She makes sure that the same men will run the choo-choo train each time. And that's why she has to wait for a particular choo-choo train at a particular time. She's even got a man in the telegraph office to make darn sure they're the ones running the train that day in question.
Gosh, there ain't no way to break up an organization as slick as this one.
Nope, there ain't. And I'll tell you, Pard, you're with the smartest boss when you're with Boss Lacey. Just watch how she takes the Cummings Ranch. It'll be a sight to see. And it'll be hey, X-Nay, quiet over there. Here she comes.
Now you know, men, everyone in this outfit is a fast shooter. If you wasn't, you wouldn't be in this game. I'm building this game to be the smartest one the West ever knew. Y'all know what I want from you, and Blackie will see to it that you obey orders. Now, we've got plans to clean up the Cummins Ranch. Jeb's Cummins is one of the finest herd of cattle in the state, and I can get a great price for them. Now listen carefully, and I'll tell you what we're going to do first.
Curtain falls on the first act of our exciting Lone Ranger episode. Now to continue our story. You'll recall in the first act of our exciting Lone Ranger drama, the Lone Ranger and Taro had rescued Sheriff Burns and Laura Halstead from the burning ruins of Laura's Fox Oaks Ranch. The most recent in a string of raids by a band of mysterious outlaws run by a ruthless young woman. No one in the territory had been able to understand how the band makes off with the cattle they steal, leaving no trace or no trail. But the Lone Ranger deduces that by stealing cattle only from ranches bordering the railroad tracks, the rustlers are able to use the railroad to move the cattle unbeknownst out of the territory to a quick sale in the east. Our scene opens with the Lone Ranger and Tonto as they scout out the Cummings Ranch, the ranch they believe the outlaws will strike next.
Look, Kimosabe, trail go to the top of Table Mountain.
Let's go, Tonto. I expect we could see Jeb Cummings' entire ranch from up there.
That right. Look, big stream over there.
Yes, and there's another one over there, and several more smaller ones over there. Look, they all feed down Table Mountain and form that river below. It's no wonder Jeb Cummings has the biggest cattle ranch in the territory.
Him have plenty of water. We at top now.
Tonto, you can see the entire valley from up here. It's beautiful.
Look there, train track down there.
Yes, Tonto, and there's where the tracks curve off to the north to follow around the mountain.
That right.
That's where the outlaws will stop the train, Tonto. It will be the best place to load the cattle. Okay, let's go. I need to talk to the sheriff.
Later the same day, the Lone Ranger and Tonto meet at the office of Sheriff Burns to discuss their plans.
How well do you know Jeb Cummings, Sheriff?
Well, I heard tell of him. He owns the largest cattle ranch in these here parts. Close to 2,000 head, I've been told. But personally, I don't know him at all. He lives 2 towns over in North Bend.
Do you know the sheriff in North Bend?
Sure do. And Yancey Carter. He's the sheriff over there. He's married to my sister.
How big is North Bend?
Oh, not that big. About the same size as our town, Midland, I'd say.
I'm going to ride out and talk to Jeb Cummings. I want you and Tonto to ride over to North Bend tomorrow and talk to Sheriff Carter. Now listen carefully. Here's our plan.
The next morning, as Tonto and Sheriff Burns travel to North Bend to explain their plans to Sheriff Carter, the Lone Ranger rides up on 2 cowboys who are fixing fences at the Cummings Ranch. Seeing his mask, they start to draw their guns.
Wow. Did you see that draw? Lightning fast.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. I hadn't even touched my gun yet.
Okay, mister. You got the drop on us. We ain't got nothing worth stealing. We're just a couple of hard-working cowboys.
I'm not an outlaw. I need you to take me to see Jeb Cummings.
You're with the Ghost Raiders. If you're not an outlaw, why the mask then?
I'm the foreman of this here ranch, and I'm not gonna take you to see our boss.
I told you I'm not an outlaw. I wear this mask for my own reasons.
Oh, yeah? Why do you want to see our boss, Bert?
I don't have time to explain it to you. This is a matter of great urgency. Now, get on your horses and take me to Jeb Cummings.
We
Now.
better do what he says, Slim. He's got the muzzle on us.
Meanwhile, unbeknownst to the Lone Ranger, the boss outlaw Bart, following the direction of the gang's leader, Boss Leslie, meets with Rosa, another part of the Cummings Ranch. Bart explains to Rosa her part in the upcoming raid.
Hey, Rosa, is everything all set?
Si, senor. There are 7 of our men who are working here on the ranch. Boss Lacey had us start here about 2 months ago now, so no one will suspect us. Another 5 of our boys started last week.
Rosa, I'll tell you, Boss Lacey sure thinks of everything. How many cowboys does Cummings have working for him? I need to keep count this time. You know, I messed up last time and left 2 of them alive. Boss Lacey wants to make sure we get every damn one this time.
But when they heard about the raids west of here, 12 of them went away. Now there are 28 cowboys left. There are another 6 ranch hands and the cook, plus Cummings, his vice-head doctor.
Oh, okay, Rosa, here's gonna be the plan. When we come riding in, you and the boys take care of Cummings, his wife, his daughter, and every one of the ranch hands. Make sure you don't leave any survivors. You got that?
Well, I know what to do.
As the Lone Ranger goes to swim, ride to the ranch house of the Cummings Ranch, Jeff Cummings is explaining to his wife his concerns about the recent raid on the Box X Ranch and a possible raid on his ranch.
Jed, what's wrong, dear? You seem really out of sorts today.
Oh, I'm okay, Linda. I'm just tired.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, my dear. You must have had a very hard day. Jed?
Yeah, seems like when one thing goes wrong, everything else has to bust loose, it seems, at the same time.
Darling, you know you can always talk to me. What's wrong?
I don't know what's wrong. Nothing you can put your finger on, but the hands are all worried about raiders and snoopers. I have a funny feeling. I can't figure out.
What do you mean, Jed?
Well, I told you what we heard about the raids east of here.
You mean the terrible raid at the Box X Ranch?
Yeah, but I reckon I better not say any more. No use borrowing up trouble.
Jeff Cummings, you tell me what this is all about right now.
Now, Linda.
Well, sweetheart, you aren't really worried about those ghost raiders, are you, dear?
Dang nabbit, yes I am. Yesterday the boys saw a couple of hombres sneaking around and spying on the cattle.
You mean?
I mean, I'm powerful afraid we're in for trouble, and I don't think they're ghosts.
But we already have plenty of hands to fight.
You-
And we can't fight real raiders.
You mean we had plenty of hands?
What?
I didn't tell you before, Linda, but a few of the boys deserted a while back as soon as I heard all this here raiding business. I had to have hands, so I hired whoever come along. Even those men I hired about 2 months ago. I don't know how far they can be trusted. Something's not right.
Maybe you hired some outlaws?
That's what I've been thinking. I don't like the look of the new men, but I can't run a ranch without help.
Well, it would be a slick outlaw plan to have men on the ranch they plan to clean out.
Yeah, I tell you, Linda, I don't like the look of things. I'm skittish as a newborn colt and have a mind to pack you off to your sisters until them raiders are caught.
No, Jed, absolutely not. I'm staying right here with you as long as we have this ranch.
Well, if there's anything to this raiding business, you won't be safe.
Neither will you, Jed. You're staying, right?
Yeah, but it's different for a woman.
No buts about it. I'm staying. If there's any danger, you're not facing it alone, Jed Cummings. But maybe we should send our daughter to my sister's for a bit.
With all these problems here, I forget Rachel's fresh home from finishing school. She's not going to be happy about it, but she is going to have to leave as soon as possible. Can you tell her and get her packed up? I'll make arrangements for one of the trusted men to take her into town this morning. I'm sure your sister won't mind. Who is it? Come in. What's wrong?
This here masked man rode up on us while we were fixing fences. He demanded we bring him to see you.
An outlaw?
I'm not an outlaw.
If you're not an outlaw, why are you wearing that mask and those fancy six guns? You're snooping around my ranch.
This mask is on the side of law and order. I came here to speak to you on a most urgent matter.
Okay, and tell me what you came here to talk about.
Several ranches east of here have been attacked and men killed.
Yeah, I know that already.
Your ranch will be next.
Why, you love
See, boss, he's one of them. He's making threats.
I came here to warn you.
You mean you came here to spy on us? If a man hadn't caught you, you'd be back with your pards right now, telling them the whole layout of this ranch. You're nothing but a lying scoundrel.
Your men didn't catch me. I had them bring me here, no matter what you think. Your ranch is in grave danger.
Shall we take his guns, boss? He said he'd come along peaceably if we left his guns and mask alone.
Good idea. There's enough of us to take him right now. Hand over those guns, mister. I'm aiming to find out just who you are.
Stand back. Don't any of you make a move.
Did you see that draw? Wow, that's the second time I did that.
He drawing us out on the range. He's as fast as I've ever seen. Gee willikers, mister.
I didn't even have a chance to get my hand on my gun. He already has both guns drawn on us.
I warned you, Cummings. Now guard yourself against the outlaws. Stand where you are.
Open that door and get after him. Don't let him get away.
Hail, Silver, away!
We posted a chair in front of the door. We can't get out. Oh, there we go. Shoot him down.
No use going after him. That horse is like greased lightning.
No use even shooting at him either. He's too far away already.
Maybe he did just come here to warn us, Jed.
You heard him threaten us.
Maybe he was telling the truth. Maybe he wasn't threatening. Maybe he did come here just to warn us, Jed.
Well, boss, she might be right. He had the drop on us. I didn't bring him. He brought me.
Either way, we need to be prepared.
What'll we do, boss?
First, we set out a double watch all the men we can trust.
We haven't got enough hands.
We've got enough men if we all work day and night. We've got to prepare for an attack. We'll take 3 hours sleep a day and spend the rest of the time in preparation.
What else?
Have the new men set up barricades, board up all the windows, round all the cattle, and take them down to the south range. They'll be harder to find down there. Don't use any of those new men to move the cattle, and don't tell them where you're taking them.
You got it, boss. I'm glad to hear that you're suspicious of those new men. I don't trust them neither.
Well, get them to go then. No use having outlaws working against us, and let's be ready to fight to the finish.
Our setting changes to the town of Osage. Laura Halstead, Nancy, now that she's recovering, asked the sheriff several questions that the lawman refuses to answer directly.
I ain't saying nothing about our plans, Laura, in case they don't work out. How's your wound?
I told you before, Sheriff, it's all right. I'm good as new thanks to that Injun Tonto. Where'd he stop to anyhow?
I don't rightly know.
Well, ain't there anything you can tell me? For days we've been waiting, just a-waiting, that's all. Cleaning our guns, keeping horses saddled, ready to ride. What are we waiting for?
I can't tell you, Laura.
How long will it be before you can tell me?
When's the next train due in?
Well, how in thunder should I know? The last train meant my range was wiped out. If I ever see another train too soon, it'll be too soon.
Well, I reckon you'll see more trains, Laura. Maybe the next one will be as much good luck as the last one was bad luck.
Now you're talking in riddles. Are you sure cow thieves use the railroad? Seems mighty hard somehow.
I ain't sure of nothing. I'm just waiting, Laura. Just waiting, just same as you.
You ready for a ride, Sheriff?
Is it time to ride, Tonto? Tell me it's time to ride.
It's time now.
Then come on, Laura. That's what we've been waiting for. That's what we've been keeping these horses saddled for. Come on, follow me. Lead the way, Tonto.
Get men from town.
I talked to every man separately, and they're all ready to ride. Laura, you go over to the saloon. Tell every man there it's time to ride. Tell the masked man needs them. I'll signal with my gun. Hurry. Come on, boys. Come on, get to riding. The masked man needs you.
Working strategically, Sheriff Burns enlists the able-bodied men from the town of Osage. At his command, they mount their horses and ride after him. The sheriff shouts out to the men they see at every ranch they pass, no matter how small.
Come on, turn out. The time is at hand. Get your horses and follow me. Get up here.
As the hard-riding posse thunders between Osage and Jeff Cummings' ranch, their numbers increase. They pass the snaky town of Meredith, and once again, the voice of Sheriff Burns summons more men to join them.
Turn out, boys. Get your guns and horses. Follow us. The masked man needs you.
sheriff and his hard-riding men race along, swelling their numbers as they go. The Lone Ranger also musters the men from the town of North Bend.
Come on, Sheriff Carter, it's time to ride.
We're ready. I've been collecting men since Sheriff Burns told us of the attack. I got close to 50 men ready. Them outlaws won't stand a chance this time because of your plan. They won't even know we're a-coming.
All right, Sheriff Carter, take your men and be ready to attack right where the railroad tracks start to curve to the north around Table Mountain. A lot of outlaws will be gathered there because that's where they plan to load the cattle.
The outlaws, too, are prepared for their attack, and when the train they are expecting slows down near the Cummings Ranch, they know this is the signal for their gang to start their well-planned raid.
Remember, boys, what you're supposed to do. Don't mess up. There's a train now. They're ready for us to load the cattle on.
Are you sure your men will be in the engine, boss?
They'll be there. They wouldn't be stopping if they weren't. You just take care of your job and hit for the house first.
Hey, come on.
Our men who are working on the ranch have instructions to get Cummins and his family and all the ranch hands. We need to make sure we get all the cowmen. Lastly, we'll get the cattle. And remember, don't leave no survivors this time.
While the outlaws race towards the ranch, Jeb Cummings and his ranch hands check their guns and stand ready to fight. They feel their cause is hopeless, but they're prepared to make a desperate attempt to defend themselves. We hear Jeb Cummings as he talks to his wife.
Linda, you keep down below the windowsill.
I will, and as fast as you empty your guns out, pass them to me and I'll reload them.
Okay, boys, here they come. The train is already stopping at the track.
The train will carry your herds away.
There ain't none of us that will see it, but take as many of them as you can, boys, before you go down.
How close are they now, Jed?
Not far. The moon makes things as bright as day. Linda, here, take this six gun. I don't know if they'll try to capture you, but don't you let them. Save one bullet just in case. Get it?
I understand.
They're starting.
All right, boys. Pour lead into them.
Look, boss, they've got more men on the train.
Yeah?
Look, them cattle cars are pouring out scores of men.
How many they got in that gang?
Hi-yo, Silver, away!
Silver, did you hear that?
That's the same man that was here yesterday.
They're attacking us.
I can't believe it's true. No, look again. They're not attacking us. They're attacking the rustlers.
It's a miracle.
We don't need to fight. Look at them others cutting down the rustlers.
This is our fight, Butch. We need to cut down the rustlers, too.
Sheriff Burns' posse leaps from the cattle cars and closes in on the outlaws. The outlaws are completely surprised by the sight of the sheriff and his men pouring out of the cattle cars. Meanwhile, Sheriff Carter attacks from the north, and now the thieves are surrounded. Boss Lacey is shot down in the fighting, and a score more of the outlaws are hit through the posse's blazing guns. The remaining outlaws throw down their guns and surrender.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! I surrender! We all surrender!
You'll face trial, all right.
And you'll tell us all about this here scheme.
It was Lacey's gang. She's dead. She's the one. She had everything all lined up.
Where's my cattle?
Your cows have been all sold. But give me a chance. I'll get the money back for you. I promise I will.
The engineer of the train was in the gang, right?
Yeah, him and the fireman.
I thought so. I had to rope them. They wouldn't stop the train and help the sheriff and his men load their horses.
Stranger, I thought when you was here last time you was making a threat. but now I know you was the best friend we had.
We owe you everything, masked man, everything.
Glad to be of help, ma'am. Come on, Sheriff, we need to ride back to town. There's one more thing we've got to do.
The outlaw gang is now captured. The Cummings Ranch and the people, the cattle herds, all saved from destruction and murder. But there's one last crucial detail the Lone Ranger needs to complete. Tonto, Sheriff Burns, and the Lone Ranger race back towards Osage to round up the last member of the Ghost Raiders gang. In town, they tie up their horses in front of Mrs. O'Leary's cafe and go inside, where they see Harvey Anderson, the bank manager, still chatting with Mrs. O'Leary. The two are finishing a cup of Irish coffee.
Good morning, Harvey, Mrs. O'Leary. Oh, we meet again.
Good morning, Sheriff, Masked Man, Tonto. I heard there's good news in the wind today.
'Tis a grand morning to be sure, gentlemen. I'm just closing early today to get to my lady's sewing circle. But oh, you folks can stay and drink the rest of the pot, as me Irish granny used to say.
Thank you, Mrs. O'Leary. I have seen you before. In fact, I recognized you the first time I saw you. And you're no more Irish than I am. In fact, you are the leader of this gang.
Why, well, 'tis a lot of poppycock that I never did hear it. For sure, I never, masked man, I cannot bear to think anyone would believe such a silly fairy story like that. Sheriff, Harvey, both of you know have been customers of mine for over 3 years. You know me. I belong to the ladies' sewing circle with both of your wives. You know I'm a church-going lady. I'm in the choir at the church, and I'm there every Sunday.
No, it's true. You are the real leader of this gang. Furthermore, I captured your husband, Colonel John Lacey, 4 years ago.
Who's Colonel Lacey?
Him pretty bad fellow.
He was a ruthless colonel who fought on the side of the South. After the war, he continued raiding ranches about 300 miles north of here, and robbing trains and stagecoaches and murdering anyone who got in his way. He was hanged about 4 years ago in Deadwood. How long has Mrs. O'Leary been here in town?
Well, I'd have to say about 3.5, maybe 4 years ago.
Just about the time her husband was hanged. You were one of the ones who shot at Tonto and me when we went to look at the location of the stagecoach holdup.
Boy, that's outrageous. Faith, I don't own a gun, and I certainly don't know how to shoot a gun.
You're right about one thing. Thankfully, you're not a very good shot. It was your daughter, the infamous Boss Lacey, who was running the gang, but you're the real brains of the outfit. I remember that you had that same red dirt on your shoes when we got back from the stage holdup site. Look, it's still there now.
Well, that don't prove anything. Say them, Bigora. Red dirt and me shooting at you? Me setting up a stagecoach and a train robberies? Well, I never heard such a thing. Sheriff, you're not believing any of this malarkey?
Yeah, Mrs. O'Leary, I am. I've seen that rifle behind the counter. It's right here. And it smells like it's been fired recently, too.
Harvey, when you and the sheriff discussed the train and stagecoach cash shipments, were you here at Mrs. O'Leary's?
You know, come to think of it, it was right here. We have breakfast over here every morning, and the only other person who could hear us was you, Mrs. O'Leary. That means you knew about the time and place of those stage and train shipments. The sheriff and I talked about them right here in your place. You listened in and set up those robberies.
Mrs. O'Leary, you're under arrest.
Faith, it's about time I can talk like a true Texan. I don't regret none of it. My husband was a great man and a real war hero. If the South would have won that dead-gum war, why, he most likely would have been a governor or even a president by now. He knew how to make men do what he wanted, and he could move mountains.
Your husband was a murdering outlaw, and so are you and your daughter, God rest her soul. And with your arrest, I guess we've captured our whole gang, thanks to you, masked man. Hey, where'd he go?
He must have slipped out the back door. Shucks, I wanted to thank him and Tonto. Besides, I wanted to ask his name. We can't just keep calling him the masked man.
Oh, dang it, you slow-witted cowpokes. Don't you know who that was? He's the Lone Ranger. And Tonto are the best crime fighters that poor outlaw gangs like mine have ever known. Fee on the Lone Ranger, he won again.
Come on, Tonto. We're headed for Hartleville. I hear there's trouble brewing. Hi-yo, Silver! Away!
Poor Tonto, he always has to do whatever the Lone Ranger tells him to do.